In a quiet valley, surrounded by towering peaks, lay the forgotten village of Aeloria. It was a place of eerie stillness. No wind, no storms, no rivers. The air was unnaturally calm, and the land was barren. For centuries, the villagers lived in silence, resigned to their fate. But not everyone accepted it. Among them was Kai, a restless young man who refused to give in to despair. While others endured the stillness, Kai dreamed of change. He often climbed the hills, staring at the distant mountains, wondering if there was something, anything, that could bring life back to his village. One evening, as the sun dipped below the peaks, an old traveler arrived in Aeloria. His cloak was tattered and green, and he carried a staff crowned with a glowing emerald. The villagers gathered, their curiosity piqued. "The air here is dead," the traveler said, his voice low but firm. "But far beyond these mountains lies the emerald of whispering winds. It is said to awaken even the stillest air and revive the lifeless. But beware, it tests those who seek it." Kai stepped forward, determination shining in his eyes. "I will find the emerald. I'll bring the wind back to Aeloria." The traveler studied him and handed over a simple map. "Be warned," he said. "The winds of judgment guard the emerald. They tolerate no greed, no cowardice, and no lies." The next morning, armed with nothing but courage and the map, Kai set out across the desolate landscape. Days passed as he braved the harsh elements, climbing treacherous cliffs and crossing icy streams. The mountains loomed closer, and for the first time, Kai felt the faintest breeze on his skin, a promise of what lay ahead. When he reached the peak of the tallest mountain, he found the entrance to a massive cave. Carvings of swirling winds adorned its walls, glowing faintly in the dim light. The air inside hummed with energy. As he stepped in, a voice echoed through the cavern. "To claim the Emerald of Whispering Winds, you must face 3 trials. The first, confront the echo of truth." Suddenly, a reflection of Kai stepped out from the shadows. But it wasn't him as he saw himself. It was him as others saw him, flawed and uncertain. "You think you're brave," the reflection sneered. "But you're just a frightened boy running from failure. Why should the Emerald choose someone like you?" Kai's chest tightened, doubt clawing at his mind. But he remembered why he was there, not for himself, but for his people. With steady resolve, he stood tall. "I may doubt myself," he said, "but my purpose is clear. I won't turn back." The reflection smiled faintly before dissolving into mist. The next chamber was filled with howling winds, a gale so fierce it felt like it could tear him apart. The voice returned. "The second trial, walk through the gale of doubt." The wind wasn't just physical, it carried whispers, doubts that pierced his thoughts. "You'll fail," one hissed. "You're not strong enough," another taunted. Kai pushed forward, each step heavier than the last. "Even if I fail," he shouted, "I'll fail trying. That's more than doing nothing." The wind ceased, and a warm breeze carried him forward. At last, Kai reached the final chamber. At its center stood a pedestal, and upon it rested the Emerald of Whispering Winds. It glowed with a radiant green light, humming with untold power. Before he could touch it, a towering figure emerged, a being of swirling wind and storm. The guardian's voice boomed like thunder. "Why do you seek the emerald?" It asked. Kai met its gaze, unshaken. "My village is dying," he said. "The land is lifeless. The people are losing hope. I seek the emerald to bring them life, to give them a future." The guardian's eyes narrowed. "And what will you give in return?" "The emerald demands a price equal to its power." Kai hesitated. He had no treasures, no riches to offer. But he had one thing. "I offer my freedom," he said. "Let me become the wind that carries my people forward, but save them." The guardian was silent for a long moment, then smiled. "A selfless heart is rare. The emerald is yours. Use its power wisely." The emerald's light enveloped Kai, and the cavern trembled. Outside, the still air of Aeloria began to stir. A gentle breeze swept through the valley, growing into a steady wind. Rain clouds gathered, and for the first time in centuries, the sky opened. Rivers flowed, crops sprouted, and the land came alive. Kai returned to the village a hero, carrying the emerald high. He placed it on a sacred altar in the village square, ensuring its power would remain for all to share. From that day forward, Aeloria thrived. The people told stories of Kai's courage and the emerald's magic, but they also remembered the lesson it had taught them. True greatness lies not in what we take, but in what we are willing to give. And so, the Emerald of Whispering Winds became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the stillest, most lifeless places, courage and selflessness can bring the winds of change.